We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land which we are filming today, the people of the Kulin Nation. We also pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Hello everyone and welcome to Queued Up. Today's guest, I'm very excited for this one, is Ash Hills. You're the General Manager of Unified Artist Management at Unified Music Group, and you're also on the leadership team at Unified. Unified Artist Management is a team of 18s put across Melbourne, Sydney, North America. Division manages the likes of Vance Joy and Ocean Alley. You personally manage Jean Teasers and the Jean Teasers and Dan Sultan, and you also currently a serving board member of the AAM. Oh, a lot of things.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
To be here.
I thought the best way to start this would be to get a quick snapshot of your journey, a quick rundown of how you've got to where you got into. I know obviously sometimes that's not easy to squeeze into a short snapshot, but I thought we'd give it a shot.
Sure. So my journey in the music industry actually started on trams. So I used to run a website called Tram Sessions where we would film bands on trams around Melbourne. So we would just jump on a random tram full of people with a band, a camera crew, and we would film them performing 3 songs, and then we would jump off, edit them up and put them up on the website. We were really lucky. We filmed artists like Vance Joy and Paul Kelly and Eileen Heidi and Paul Dempsey. It was like amazing. And from there, I just kind of met a bunch of people in the music industry and kind of discovered that a career in music was potentially something that you could do, do full time. Because I grew up in New Zealand and in a small city in New Zealand, and I'd always thought I was going to be a teacher. Just was able to kind of turn that love of music and my network in the music industry into a job. So eventually I started working at a booking agency and I did a number of different roles there. I worked in admin, I did publicity. I also started working in artist management there for some of our artists who didn't have managers. And that was just kind of how I got into it. I was like, you don't have a manager. Can I manage you? I don't really know what I'm doing, but can we test the waters? And they said yes. And it just kind of grew from there. I started managing this band called Woodlock who played shows at like Max Watts and a bunch of in that kind of 500 cap size venue. And then from there, I applied for the Unified grant, which was a $5,000 grant to go towards creative businesses in the Australian music industry. And we received one, which was awesome. This was for Tram Sessions. And through there kind of met the team at Unified, Jaddan and Rach, and was like, this is a really cool organization. They really know what they're doing. And just kind of left it. And then eventually this role came up at the company at Unified for an admin assistant, which I wasn't really sure what it was. It wasn't quite clear what the role was. And I reached out to the team and they let me know that it was a role to be Jaddan's assistant, who's the CEO and founder of Unified. And so I applied and luckily got the role. And here I am now.
I feel like most stories in the music industry sort of happen like that, where it's something, a decision like joining as an admin assistant that takes you and you figure out what you really want to do and realizing that there is a career there. I'd love to know what song you've been listening to recently. What's been in your headphones?
Well, the Teen Jesus and the Jean Teasers new album Glory just came out, so I have been listening to that non-stop. My favourite song is Mother off the album, but it's 10 bangers from start to finish.
100%. I was just saying to you before that I was listening to it on the way to work this morning. It's like, just so good.
Great way to start your day.
It really is, isn't it? Which one was I listening to? Was it Wonderful I was listening to? And I was like, I feel like this could be in a movie. I feel like this should get synced for something.
Yeah, we pretty much cry every time we hear that together as a group. They performed it for the first time on Sunday night. And Anna, the singer, literally cried during the performance.
I mean, it's so touching to see things like that when you know it means so much. And I'm sure that being a part of their team, you know how hard they've worked for something like this, and an album's such a big moment.
For sure. And I don't think many people know this, but this year, I think the day after we released their album was their 10-year anniversary of being a band.
Wow.
They all started when they were 15. And so it's been such a long journey. This is their second album and they've just put so much into it. So for it to finally be out was like this huge celebration for everybody, especially after the last kind of 18 months to 2 years. Like we've had a really, really big couple of years. So it's nice to come back together and celebrate with a new album.
Yeah. And I might pause on, I'll jump into the Teen Jesus stuff for a little bit and then ask some other questions. But you've obviously mentioned that they've had such a big year and they've had such a big, like even a big few years, you know, touring the US, getting the opportunity to play opening for Pearl Jam. What's been your most exciting moment from all of that, watching as the manager?
Wow. I think last year when they won the Aria for Best Breakthrough Artist, I think that was like an incredible moment. And that also happened in the craziest of weeks. Like the Arias are on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
That Monday they had played a show opening in a stadium for Pearl Jam. Wednesday we had the Arias. Thursday we were on a super yacht in the Sydney Harbour with the Pearl Jam crew having like a bit of a tour celebration.
Yeah.
And then we wrapped the Pearl Jam tour. So it was like the Arias were bookended by stadium shows with Pearl Jam and eating oysters and drinking champagne on a super yacht. It was the craziest week of our lives.
Sounds like a whirlwind. I was just saying this before. It's like you always find yourself in the most unbelievable situations in the music industry. It's like the sentence of being on a super yacht in the Sydney Harbour. Like, wow.
Wild.
It's pretty wild.
Even like, you know, we were then really lucky to be invited to support Pearl Jam in America. We played 6 arena shows with them in May. And just the experience of that becoming your everyday life for such a short period of time. Like you're kind of in these huge arena shows, walking down the hallway, kind of, you know, seeing people like Eddie Vedder on a daily basis and saying hi to these people. And just it was a really strange experience to come back from that. But it was amazing.
Yeah. And was it a bus tour? Were you living on buses?
No, we were on what do they call it? A luxury bandwagon.
Oh.
So there's like a van, which is just a Sprinter van. Then there's a bandwagon, which is kind of like a very, very small bus.
Yeah.
Which I think they sleep about 9 people. And then what we were in was like a luxury bandwagon, which is essentially like a really fancy, large RV. Slept 9 people.
Yeah.
It had like a living room and TV, but it was like, it was my first time doing that. And I was like, I'm not playing shows every day, so I'll draw the short straw.
Yeah.
I'll sleep on the top bunk because that's the bumpiest one. And it was like crazy. I remember driving out of Brooklyn and just the roads were so bumpy that I literally flew up and it hit the roof of my bunk and then fell down again. And
turbulence.
Yeah, it was wild. Like people getting motion sickness all over the place. It was a learning experience.
Almost like you need a seatbelt for your bus because you don't keep getting lifted off the ground in your bed.
No, it's America, the Wild West over there.
It is truly the Wild West. But I want to loop back to, you know, starting out. And I wanted to chat a little bit about how everything you've mentioned in your early career has shaped how you view the like music business and industry now. What do you take from that in the learnings that you learnt there in the decisions that you make today?
I think I've always been really lucky to work with artists from all different levels, but definitely from that emerging space into kind of watching them grow. I think in my early days prior to working at Unified, like I mentioned I worked with Woodlock, but I also helped work on the relaunch of the Killing Heidi 20-year anniversary tour and re-release of their music, which was really exciting. And so I was able to kind of work with a band that have had such an incredible history and are now kind of coming back in a resurgence, which we're seeing constantly happen all over the place now.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just like learning that there are so many different ways to do things as an artist, but also working in the industry as well, that there's no kind of one set way of having to do things. And I think you really have to be adaptable. And I think that's like in management, that's just such a key thing, is being able to be adaptable and move with how things are going and how things are flowing.
You mentioned that you work with a lot of like emerging artists. When you're taking on an artist for the first time, what's the first conversation you have with them?
One of the first conversations we have is around goals and just making sure that we're aligned and that we can we're both aligned on the vision of where things want to go. I did this really early on with Jean Teasers, and we set 1 year, 2 year and 5 year goals. And last year was our kind of 5-year anniversary of working together. And we went back and looked at the goals that we'd set, and we'd literally ticked off every single goal bar one, which was to get one of them a boyfriend, to out them. But and I was sorry, there was also one that was have all 4 of them living in the same city, which I realized probably will never happen. But yeah, so basically we ticked off every single goal except 2, which was pretty incredible. So I think just making sure that we're aligned on goals and values, that's such a key part of a working relationship.
And speaking of Teen Jesus, they're having such an exciting period. You know, new album out, the vinyl looks really cool. You've been all over the country the past few days doing little pop-up shows. What's been the most exciting part of this album release? I know it's very fresh. Is there anything you're looking forward to?
I think to see them playing Laneway next year is going to be incredible. That's been like one festival that we have always highlighted as like we feel would be a really key moment for them. And I think this year's the perfect year for them to be playing with like Chapel Roan, Raw Model, Wet Leg, Wolf Alice. Like the lineup is just incredible. They've done such a great job pulling it together. I think that's going to be such a key moment in the campaign. But also in May, we're playing some of the biggest shows they've ever played. We're playing Forum in Melbourne and Roundhouse in Sydney, like these iconic venues that they've always wanted to play. And so I think that's also a key moment for them. But to date, like I think the way they made this album was so different to how they've done it before. They were up in the Grove in New South Wales, which is near Gosford, for 5 weeks with the producer Catherine Marks, who made it with them. And I think that was really cool just to watch them really lock in and focus and not go insane being in the bush for 5 weeks together. They watched a lot of Married at First Sight and Drag Race to get through it, but that was really cool as well.
And you said that they're going to be playing some of their biggest shows. I do know that they also like to do all ages shows. It's something that it seems like it's very important to them. A lot of their fan base, under 18. And do you see a lot of those people coming to the shows?
I think their audience has definitely grown with them. So now we're starting to see that it's their audience is over 18 because they're all turning, they're adults now as well. But we do really like to nurture that under 18 audience just because it's such an incredible thing for these young fans to see, like this band that formed at a sleepover when they were really young, to be like, maybe we can do this too. And we have young girls turn up with instruments that they want the band members to sign. And I think stuff like that is just so important to nurture. So like where possible, we try to do as many all ages shows as we can, but it is quite hard and expensive in Australia to do that. But it's definitely something we try to do as much as possible.
And how do you help your roster and the artists that you have on your roster resist, I guess, this idea of comparison culture and just focus on the long-term growth? I think it can be really hard with social media these days because you're seeing everyone else's highs. To be able to focus and channel and streamline your thinking into this is the career and these are the goals that I have. And you've mentioned, that the 5-year goals and working towards things. Is that something that you set out with all your artists?
I think that's part of the reason why those goals are really important, because in every decision that you make, you can come back to those and make sure the why is always there. But I mean, it's so hard. Like you said, the comparison on social media is just constant for everybody, not just artists. And I think it's just making sure that people feel comfortable that they're running their own race and just try to keep keep the ship going in the right direction as much as possible.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for anyone. If you're an artist, if you're just a normal everyday person scrolling on social media and seeing things, it's really hard to resist that comparison culture. I want to jump to another artist that you manage. You've been looking after Dan Sultan for a while now. What stood out to you about working with him?
For Dan, he's obviously such an iconic artist in our industry. I think he has released some of the most beautiful songs I think, we've seen. And for Dan, the whole reason kind of why I jumped at the chance of working with him was around the last album that we released in 2023 called Dan Sultan, his first kind of self-titled album. The first time I heard it, I listened to it on repeat multiple times, and I knew that I really wanted to work on the album and obviously work with Dan as well. And I think we've kind of just wrapped up that album campaign, which is pretty insane. It's been, 2 years.
Yeah.
And we finished it with a show at the Opera House, which was just, the most beautiful way to wrap up a really special album campaign. And he's now just finished writing and recording his next release, which is really exciting. He's been in the UK making it with Guy Chambers, who's like a legend. He's an incredible songwriter, responsible for some of Robbie Williams' biggest hits. And so I think for Dan, that's something that he has always wanted to do, is to work with Guy, and it's happened. And now I think the fun part begins when we get to start to plan and release that music. And I think people are going to be really excited and surprised when they hear the songs, because it's definitely a new direction for Dan, and I think people are really going to like it.
I'm sure you listen to a lot of music and you get sent a lot of new tracks and you probably get asked for a lot of advice. Do you find when you listen to a song that you immediately know if you like it or not?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's if I continue to go back to it as well, then I know I love it. But I'm pretty cutthroat. If I listen to something and I don't gel with it, that's it.
I feel like that's a good skill to have as a manager. I feel like a lot of artists would be sending you music to go, is this worth being on the album?
For sure. But I also I'm not the type of manager who's really hands-on in the A&R process of songs. I think I really do let the artist kind of guide that process, because at the end of the day, it's their art and it's their heart and soul that they're putting out into the world. But, sometimes I'll be like, maybe we could try this, or maybe we could try this, but at the end of the day, it's their call.
Do you have a favorite genre that you personally listen to?
Pop girly.
Yeah. I think, I'm going to mention Taylor Swift again.
Yeah, I'm a Swiftie.
Yeah, I'm very into pop. I feel like it's been the era of pop recently with all the pop girlies and Sabrina Carpenter and all of the girls doing on tour and doing the most and releasing really amazing albums.
Even locally though as well. There's so much great pop music coming out at the moment, like Darcy Haven in New York, Lyric, Isha Tawari. There's so much good music, and I feel like these artists that are doing it in non-traditional ways, which is really cool. It's a really exciting time, I think, for pop music in Australia.
I'm such an advocate for it, and I listen to so much of it day to day, Australian music. It's so good. We just got to shine more. One of my favorite artists is Alexia. I saw her at Big Sound maybe 2 years ago now. And when she was performing on stage, I'm like, there's something about her. She's just, she's got it. There's something there.
Yeah, in the content space, she's got it down as well. Yeah, she's killing it.
And her songs just have earworms in them. I was listening to Punch Drunk Love driving to the studio here. Yeah. And I was like, just bopping around. I can't help it. But yeah, I think obviously Australian music is.
Love it.
I'm very passionate about it. But the way we like to end these episodes and the way we like to wrap things up is do a few quick fire questions. I feel like they're lighthearted, not too deep, but okay. I mean, second question could be deep. No, don't be stressed. The first one is the first concert you ever went to.
Okay, so it was Pink, the Dunedin Town Hall in New Zealand when I was 11 or 12. Yeah. So I'm 35. So that was a long time ago.
Was she flipping around at that point?
No, not yet. It was very early.
Okay.
My mum took me. It was incredible. And like I didn't even know the capacity of Dunedin Town Hall.
Yeah.
It would be small.
Yeah.
So that was, amazing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I've heard someone say Pink. I feel like she's so loved by Australia.
Yeah, she was like 50 shows at the Rod Laver Arena. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but like she definitely does like a lot of shows when she comes here. I mean, I went to the show at Marvel Stadium earlier this year and it was incredible. Like you kind of forget how many hits she has.
She has so many hits.
I was like, I know all the words to most of these Pink songs. Am I like I'm a Pink fan? I mean, I obviously went to the first show when I was so young, but I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, she's like multi-talented.
Yeah.
With everything that she can do while singing. I go, that woman has got talent.
Get down, Pink.
Yeah,
that
get
video.
down. Have you seen? Yeah.
I don't want to do the accent because that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that TikTok she's been around. Album that's changed your life.
I mean, I'm going to say Teen Jesus and the Jean Teasers, I Love You, just because that was like such an incredible moment in their career, but also in my career. It was like, you know, they won an Aria.
Yeah.
It opened up these doors with bands like Pearl Jam, and it was just, the way that album was received was incredible.
It's like a marking moment of all of the hard work.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last one's a bit silly, not serious. What's your coffee order?
Strong latte.
Oh, very nice. You like it? Well, where can people find you? Socials, anywhere that you'd like to share?
Unified_artist MGMT for the UAM Instagram account.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks everyone for listening and for watching. We'll catch you next time.